welcome to the Heavy Duty webinar. My name is Stephen Bowman. I am the igus Industry Manager for the Energy Chain Division.
I'm John Prokopek, the Heavy Duty Industry Manager for iGlide.
So today we're going to talk about our igus Go Zero program. We're going to talk a little bit about what heavy duty is. We're going to, John's going to present some information from the bearing side of our company. I'm going to present some information from the E-Chain side. We're going to fly over to Germany, do a little bit of a test lab visit, and then we're going to come back and finish up with some questions and answers.
First off, Stephen, do you know, almost 40 million tons of lubricant is consumed every year?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a huge, huge number.
It is. And then when you combine that with the labor costs and productivity loss, it adds up to a $250 billion check.
Yes, lots of money. Yep. Interesting, because that falls right in nicely to, you know, our initiative at igus is our international or our global Go Zero lubrication initiative, where we're trying to remove grease and lubrication from our environment. So our mission statement for igus is improve all types of motion with motion plastics while maintaining a CO2 neutral footprint with zero plastic waste, and be the easiest company in the industry to work with. John, we get this question all the time, like, what is heavy duty?
Yeah, it really comes down to the 8 attributes on the screen right now. Simply outdoor equipment in really harsh environments. So you got heavy loading and high vibrations. Those types of things really make up heavy duty applications.
So heavy duty also kind of covers a multitude of industries, some of which we've shown on the screen here. All of those industries have attributes that have some or most or all of those attributes that John was just referencing.
So I'm going to jump into the bearing side of igus, just getting right into it. We have a couple ways of producing heavy duty bearings. The first one to the left is iGlide. That is our injection molding process. It's really at the core of igus in general, whether it be E-Chain or bearings. And then on the right-hand side, you have our igus line, which is a fiber wound line. Our plastic injection molded is a tribal process that includes a base polymer, and we add fibers or filaments to it to reinforce it. And then we top it off with homogeneously blending a solid lubricant. So the solid lubricant is present no matter where you are in the life of the plastic bearing, whether it's the first day or the time to change it out. igus product line is fiber wound, so it's fibers that go through a bath. The initial layer is the wear surface, so it's got the solid lubricant included in it, and then it's reinforced with a secondary layer, as you can see here, that reinforces the overall bearing. So we get questions all the time as far as, hey, where can I use the plastic injection molded version compared to the igus version of fiber wound? And we have a breaking point of about 6,500 PSI that we look at, where we have to look at each application and determine, what side of that fall line we're on. Good news though, we did come out with a new product called Q3E. Q3E is, it kind of mimics the fiber wound. It kind of blends the two processes together. It's our plastic injection molded part. So we're utilizing an inner layer, which is your wear surface, and then an outer layer, which is your reinforcing part. And you can see by the graph, our Q2 is a full one layer plastic injection molded part. On the far side is our TX1, and our Q3E lands right in the middle. This is the Q3E process. So it's a one process tooling. So we're flipping the tool, we're molding the inside layer first, and then while the tool is hot, we overmold the outside, so those two are joined together. Every one of our materials goes through testing, similar testing, same testing. I'll show you, like in heavy duty, we realize that we need to understand how our bearings act in edge loading circumstances. So as you can see in the slide, we have a test stand set up that puts different loading on each side of the bearing. And so you can see on the left here, the iGlide G made the testing for 2,600 cycles, and the TX1 is 109,000 cycles. And then everywhere in between, the bearing materials, those are tested as well. So it gives us a really good idea on how that edge loading affects our bearings. The second type of testing that we do and that we see in heavy duty loading is our swell loading, dynamic loading we call it, cyclical loading, where as you can see on the excavator, there's no load in the bucket, and then it digs into the earth. There's shock loading, there's edge loading, and then it's dumping and there's medium loading. So we created a test that mimics this. And so we run this test. Each time it presses down, it's pushing down on the bearing at different loading and while it's oscillating as well. So we're learning a lot about how these different movements impact our bearing materials. As you can see here again, the Q2 versus the TX3. And then everywhere in between, we have results that we could dig into further with each application. The next thing I want to talk about is lubrication. So many companies are, still on the left-hand side where they're using a metal bushing and they're greasing constantly. Our goal with Goal Zero is to move towards the right and move towards the right at your pace. So if you want to reduce lubrication, we can easily change out your metal bearing and place our bearings in, and you can reduce the frequency of maintenance. Also, it creates more of a fail-safe system because you have a bearing in there that if somebody stops maintaining that bearing or that pivot, our bearings are going to take over because they have the solid lubricant built into them. Moving more to the right, we have another system which is initial lubrication. And then ultimately our goal is to get you to a 100% dry running application. And as you can see, the benefits on the far left compared to the far right add up, and the requirements and costs actually are reduced from left to right. So that's our goal, is to reduce costs of your systems and then create benefits for your customer. When we look at creating a maintenance-free pivot, no grease, we have to look at both housing bore and shafting, and we talk about that a lot with our customers. We do offer a form of shafting that's corrosion resistance that is very much made to work with our bearings with the right surface finishes. You can see we use quite a few different carbons to achieve that. I'll show you a really nice application where we moved a customer from a greased metal bearing to a fully dry running system. So this particular is in a tandem wheel pivot, 4,000 acres, no grease, no seals. We're running about 30,000 radial loading on this. Here's a quick view of the application at the start. You can see the Q2 material in the housing board, the GCAF shafting, nice and clean. And then we pivot to after 4,000 acres. As you can see, the GCAF shafting gets a little polished up. There's no shearing, there's no wear to the shafting. On the bearing side, you can see that the dirt has infiltrated into the pivot, but that is not a concern for us. The solid lubricant is still active in that application. A couple more applications I wanted to share. This particular one is a Manus Award winner in 2021. Great application where we're using our fiber wound TX1 in the track system. You can see some of the environments that application was living in the going through that dirt and slurry all the way from, all the way to temperatures, cold temperatures on the ski hills. The second one, 2023 Gold Manus Award, was JM Manufacturing, where we installed our G300 in their tillage equipment. That's in full production. So those are a couple really nice applications that have won awards with igus. We did come out with a new sleeve that includes all of these materials. So iGlide G, Q2, Q3E, TX1, and TX3. It's a sleeve that you can order by just hitting the QR code there. As you can see, each one of these materials is rated for temperatures, pressures, coefficient of friction, and so forth.
All right.
Stephen, I'll hand it off to you for E-chain.
Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Nice job. So we're going to switch over to the E-chain side a little bit and talk about some of the heavy-duty applications and attributes that we run into on a daily basis. Same attributes that John runs into is the same attributes we run into as well. Extreme temperatures, snow, ice, UV exposure, vibration, dirt, debris, just really tough, harsh outdoor environments. So we have a lot of our standard E-chain products that can handle those applications, but sometimes we run into some that we need a little bit of some specialty products that we need to use. So I wanted to show you a few of those just as an example. This is one of our energy chains, which is we call this our AX version of our energy chain. One of the differences here is our stop dog system, instead of being internally inside the link-to-link connection, the stop dog system is what defines the bend radius of the chain. We move that from inside the link-to-link connection to an external stop dog system. So what that does is any product or material that could potentially get into the chain, potash, for example, is a big one that could work itself into the chain and impede the bend radius of the chain. The external stop dogs kind of help eliminate some of that issue. Another one that we run into is when we're doing side mount rotary applications. So if we have a large stacker or reclaimer, instead of the energy chain in this type of a configuration, the energy chain lays on its side in a circular type configuration. One of the things that we found is in certain instances with certain types of product, some of that product can work its way down into the link-to-link connection and then start to impede the radius of the energy chain. So we machined some special, came up with a nice design, machined some special slots into the stop dog so that any material that works its way in, passes through. We've had some great success with that type of a product. So there's just a couple examples of some specialty kind of chains that we use to solve some unique problems in the heavy duty industry. In a typical standard application that we run into in heavy duty, the industry has three different types of chains to look at. One is a plastic or polymer chain, like igus has been manufacturing for decades now. Another type is an all steel chain that we see as a competition type chain. And then something new to the market that we've designed is what we call our hybrid chain. We'll talk about this a little bit more in depth in a minute, but that's a combination of steel and plastic to solve some very unique problems within that industry. So we look at things like unsupported span. We typically start off with the cable package, the fill weight, the ODs, all that good requirements from the customer, and start designing a system around that. We take in things like corrosion, vibration, assembly service time, noise levels, all those considerations when we're designing a system. So when we're looking at a specific energy chain, I got a nice example here. This is one of our new E4Q chains that have quick opening crossbars. Again, we kind of start with that fill package. We start with the cables and hoses, the ODs, the weights per foot, the bend radius, and then we select a chain that works with the cables. So the idea is that we want to protect the hoses and cables and extend the life and hose of the cables, ideally to the service life of your equipment if at all possible. We look at any sort of dimensional restrictions. So when the chain's in its loop, in its area of operation, how much physical space is the chain taking up and how much room do we have to work with? We look at strain relief, we look at all the different heavy duty attributes that we've talked about already. And we also look at design target points as well for like OEMs where price is a driving factor within that industry. One of the nice things that igus has, we have a multitude of different online configurators to make everybody's job a little bit easier, to help our customers see test results, see data, work with our energy chain. So we can actually go online. Customers can go online. You don't have to register or anything like that. It's free to everyone, free to jump on and take a look at some of these online tools. We can select an energy chain. We can select a cable package. We can choose cables from our pool of igus Chain Flex Continuous Flex cables. We can start dropping in your own proprietary cables or your own hydraulic hoses. Drop them into the chain, start moving around, adding separators, and help design a system that falls within our parameters of a properly filled energy chain. Again, back to that if we fill the chain properly, we can extend the service life of the cables and hoses. One product I want to talk about specifically is our we call it our YE chain, and it is that combination of plastic steel construction. Half of the side links are steel and half of them are plastic. So it's the right combination. We've optimized the strength to weight ratio to be able to achieve these very long unsupported spans. So an unsupported span is when we have an energy chain operating, there's a certain point where that chain, the length of the chain in relation to the fill package is strong enough to support a certain amount of weight and length of the chain. So as the chain starts to sag, we upgrade to a next larger size chain, and then we kind of keep upgrading until there's a point where a plastic chain won't go but so far. Our hybrid chain now allows us to achieve some very, very long unsupported spans, long enough to be able to match the performance of an all steel chain, with the benefits that our hybrid chain is about half the weight. So if you're putting this chain on an aerial lift piece of equipment, or on some sort of construction machinery and weight is a concern, then we'll be able to reduce a lot of that weight from the system. It's also much easier to assemble and service. There's no mechanical fasteners, there's no nuts, bolts, rivets, C-clips, any of that kind of stuff. It all comes apart with our igus screwdriver. Very easy to work with, and we're getting tremendous results with that new series of energy chain. One of our tried and true energy chains that we've done a lot with the construction industry market and heavy duty applications is our E41 series. This has been on the market for a while. It's a great all-purpose rugged chain that we use in a lot of really nasty environments. We have these installed on ship-to-shore cranes. We have them installed on stacker reclaimers, mining equipment, a lot of different type of short travel and very long travel applications. There's a couple different series there listed on your screen, kind of going from a E428, which is an inner height of 28 millimeters, up to an E480, which is an interior height of 80 millimeters. We have some that are smaller and some that are bigger for a lot of different applications, but these are kind of the ones we see the most in heavy duty applications. And then there on the bottom of the screen, you'll see our E4350 chain. So there's a little man there in the picture with it. That's not Photoshop. That's our largest plastic energy chain that's got an inner height of 350 millimeters. So that's a very large chain. They're almost always in very rugged, very heavy duty, demanding applications. So I wanted to go through and show you kind of a couple design studies, applications that we've done in the past. We use the coal industry a lot because most of the applications are outdoor, high vibrations, rain, cold, snow, ice, UV, all those attributes of a heavy duty application. So the picture in the bottom right corner of your screen, that is during installation. So that's the chain as it's being installed, what it looks like new. And then the upper right-hand picture is after it's been installed for a couple months. So that thing gets covered in coal, covered in dust. It's exposed to snow, ice, dirt, UV. So it's been installed for a while, and it looks like it's been taking a beating, which it has, but it's still performing well, performing to specifications, and still performing today, working out very well for the customer. Another application is another coal application we like. Again, we like to use this because coal is very, very aggressive material, very caustic, very abrasive material, and they're typically outdoors. So this is an application where the system lives outdoors, and it's in an area that rains almost most of the year. So the coal dust that's building up on the energy chain is turning into kind of a coal slurry material. So that chain looks like that just about its entire life, and it's still performing very, very well. And the last application I wanted you to take a look at is a bulk material handling crane. This is a crane in a cement facility. It's got a 200-meter travel system. The picture on the left is as we were installing the system. So that's what the chain looks like, brand new. The picture in the middle is a couple months old, and then the picture on the far right is a couple years old. This is all the same exact energy chain system. So this energy chain spends its life covered in cement dust, which is, again, very caustic, very abrasive, very aggressive material, and it's performed very, very well in these applications. When we're delving into applications on the bearing side and the E-chain side, we ask a lot of questions about what's going on with the application. We ask a lot more than our competition does. We're asking what does the machine do? What kind of environment is in? What are the hots and colds? The idea is that the more we know about the application, the better we can provide the right product to you and help your system last a lot longer than a lot of our competitors may. So we're trying to extend the service life of cables and hoses within the system. So the pictures on your screen there is, that's what we don't want things to look like. Both of these systems could have been managed much better without really spending, any more money on the systems. As long as they were designed properly, the customer could have spent it about the same amount of money and had a system that would have actually lasted many, many years, possibly decades, without their cable package looking like that. So we're going to do a quick flyover to Germany. I'm going to pass the mic off to Berta and Philip in Germany, and we're going to run through the igus test lab to kind of show you some of the things that we do to test our energy chains.
We are testing the YEHD.108 at the moment. Philip, what is the purpose of this test?
Yeah, Birte, with the continuous bending test, we simulate an unsupported length of an E-chain, and we subject the chain with different loads.
Here we see an energy chain YE42 with a 4.5 meter free span and 6 kilogram per meter fill weight. It's not moving. Philip, why do we test this chain static?
Yeah, Birte, we test the sag of each energy chain type. And this test has a duration of 96 hours, and within this time we measure the sag in the middle of the E-chain.
Philip, what are we testing here and why is this a covered room?
Yeah, Birte, here we are testing the braking moment and also tensile strength. And especially with the tensile test, chipping can happen, and therefore these machines are in a closed room.
We have seen many standard tests. Philip, is there any special test we are only doing for the YE chain?
Yes, Birte, as hybrid chains will be installed in application with a lot of vibration or where vibration is a topic, we have done a vibration test. And it showed that especially the connection between steel plates and plastic parts is a very good running system.
igus being the innovator that we are, we created a new app that you can download on your phone. It's the igus Go app, and you can take a picture of pretty much any piece of equipment or vehicle, things like that, and it will show and identify all the bearing points and chain points. So a really cool app. I'm really happy to say one of the new additions to that app is a cost savings calculator, where you can actually count up all the grease points on your piece of equipment and put in how much time it takes to grease that, how much grease it takes, how many times you have to grease it, the frequency, and it'll tell you exactly how much that costs per year to maintain. So that's a really nice addition to the igus Go app. So we'll continue to add and build on that app. It's been very beneficial for our customers.
So we're just about to the end here. Got another couple minutes. This webinar was a very high-level flyover of what heavy duty is, not really intended to get too much into the details in a 30-minute presentation. But one of the things John and I have been doing is we've been working with companies across North America, and we've been coming to their facilities and conducting lunch and learns. We bring in food. Everybody loves to get fed. We talk about our products and services, and a lot of it is kind of that knowledge transfer from the years of experience John has, the years of experience I have, and all the different people at igus, and kind of transferring some of that knowledge to your engineering team. We do this from teams that are as a couple people all the way up to, I think the largest one we did was maybe 80 this year, 80 engineers at one time. So we can accommodate small and large groups of people, but we've definitely gotten a tremendous amount of feedback, positive feedback from our customers with these lunch and learns. So if you'd like to have more information from us or more details or would like a lunch and learn, we've got the QR codes on the screens there. Scan those in and that'll help you get in touch with us. And we'd love to come out and see you. Definitely appreciate everybody's time. Thank you for attending. I know everybody's time is valuable.
If you have any questions, our QR codes include our contact information. Please reach out to us, your local TSM. Just get in touch with us. We're happy to help any way we can.